trees, your yellow leaves move me. Dancing roofs, your painted red shakes the room. When I get there, I'll let my feet roll. When I get there, I'll break in your arms, I'll lose control. When I get there, I'll know the answer. Let me know when I get closer. Winterland, you're my sailing ship. Guide me in when you head for your trip. Right out of this wicked black and into bright sand. Straight toward the warm sun and into his hands. When I get there, I'll let my feet roll. When I get
Hey everybody, happy Monday. This is Overpass Live. My name is Eric and I make apps. This is the weekly live stream where we just hang out and talk about whatever we want to. Now today I'm coming from someplace different. I'm coming from my bedroom. So I've been reading the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. I read it before, actually I'll say listened to the audiobook before, like a year ago or a year or two ago, and I just been rereading it. So like actually sitting, like got it on my Kindle and actually reading it so I could read all the diagrams and everything. And sometimes I think I digest things better if I actually just read it rather than listen to it. I know a lot of people say it's the same thing, but dude, it's not. Like you're in the gym and you're working out and then you're listening to an audiobook, things interrupt you and everything, whereas you're reading, if something interrupts you, it automatically pauses because your eyes look away. So anyway, I've been reading this, and like a lot of the things I've been trying to do is set up like different ways of working. And my desk has always been in the living room, right? So like you guys, my big powerful computer has always been in my living room, which when I'm by myself in the flat, which is most of the time, that's perfectly fine. But when my kids come over and everything, it's always kind of, it's kind of rude to like say like you can't watch TV or anything because I'm working. So I thought what I would do is move it into the bedroom and see if that could help my productivity a little bit more, even though I guess I'm right next to the bed, which is I don't know. So but anyway, so I'm tempting something new. You go through things through the development career, like Pomodoro technique. I'll try the Pomodoro technique, and you do that for a while and you try other things. And I thought, well, I'm going to try to do this, move back in here. So hopefully you guys can hear me okay. So anyway, that's why. And then once I moved in here, I thought I'll just make the background look okay. And I can't get the stupid wardrobe out of the way because, something about the positioning of the room. Basically, I didn't have enough room to move all this stuff in here. So anyway, good story, huh? So anyway, so apologies for the new location here. And I had everything set up to like do it from the living room anyway. I got the laptop out and everything. And at the last second, like Ecamm Live, which is the software I use, needed an update. So it's like, it's great, just great. So, but anyway, thanks for joining, everybody. Let's see. Mega Man is first. Oh, why is this so small? Mega Man 2016 is first. Eric, what are your top? Eric, what are your top software development books? Now, I'll tell you what, Mega Man. As I started, the reason it took me a while with the music playing and everything, because as soon as I read that, I ran into the living room to where the bookcase is so I could grab a few of them. So I'll go some of the ones I don't have like physically, or maybe I checked them out for the library, or read the ebooks or whatever. But I think it's my favorite ones are, well, everyone talks about Code Complete as being one of the main ones, and I don't think I've ever read through Code Complete, but I have really enjoyed JavaScript: The Good Parts, which is like back when JavaScript was much maligned and Node.js was coming out. I thought that was a really good one. Don't Make Me Think is like a really good one on UX design, which I think is just, just reading that was really good. Let's see, there's what's I gonna say? There's a few others. I mean, some of them were just like you read them and they don't really have a lasting impact on you because they don't change the way you do things, or they might just be very basic. So like the one that had the most impact on me was Visual Basic 5 in 21 days. But I wouldn't recommend that to anybody now, right? So I got a few of these for the living room that I've been reading. So this is I mean, you know, there's a lot of books on Scrum, but you know, the Agile project management with Scrum I thought was pretty good. Actually, it was okay. Like once you get the basics down to Scrum, it's okay. Like there was a book that was really popular on software development called The Mythical Man Month, and which was was all about project management of software projects. And it was kind of like the thing where I thought it could have been an article. Like sometimes you read a book, it could just be an article. Now here's one that I've read, like it's Head First Design Patterns. So like I had somebody I was working with, and he was talking about like the decorator patterns and the gang of, was it the Gang of Four, or the gang of Four, and Gang of Six? But the initial design patterns, and some of the things I just conceptually just couldn't quite get. Singleton was easy, but like the decorator pattern, everything like that. So this book, a lot of the stuff in it is Java, but it was like the way that they orchestrate everything, like all these head first books. So it's like mostly diagrams and everything, and the way they, I thought it was really well presented, and it was like I had all these aha moments in the middle of this one, which I thought was really good. So like yeah, and yeah, that's right. The reason I got this one is because it was recommended to me by somebody else who was using design patterns. You guys can hear me, right? Let me just make sure. So yeah, so this one was really good. And then I started reading, and this one I'm just started reading. So this is the Laws of UX. And so far, I was gonna like thinking I could talk about some of these things, but some of them it seems like they're reaching. Like Fitts Law and everything like that is something that we've talked about before. You know, making things easier for your users to actually use and everything. But I'm gonna go through the rest of this, and if there's anything really good in here, I'll tell you guys about it. But so that's it. I'm trying to think of something else that was like really good in terms of like just software development. I mean, what are some of your guys' options? I mean, other ones are like, and this, I mean, talking about software development specific books, like I talk about Atomic Habits, which isn't really a software book, but so yeah, let's see. AO All in One says, "Hey Eric, I'm in development work. I missed your live for this week." Dude, sorry about it. We're gonna talk about really cool stuff today, possibly. I don't know. Just sitting in my bedroom. Welcome to my bedroom, guys. What's the Bengals? Bengals. Let's play Bengals in your room. Kevin, hey, how's it going? MD says, Eric, do you own a Chromebook? I want my Android apps on Chromebook. I do, but it's really old. I have a Chromebook that was given to me for free by Google, like maybe, God, it might be 5 years ago. So it's like, so yeah, I mean, I haven't tried it. I know I have tested out like iOS apps on a Mac, and surprised how well some of those work. But you know what I don't like about the fact, like the Mac seems to put things like iOS apps on automatically, and like sometimes you need other things. Like a lot of the apps, like maybe I'm using GPS or I'm using like Bluetooth connection, something like that, and it seems like it's not, it's like I'm designing it for one medium, and then like unless it's something that's very generic, then it's not going to work on some other stuff. Adrian, hey, how's it going? Awesome book. That and Cal Newport's Deep Work. Yeah, Deep Work is, I listened to the audiobook. I have the physical book on my bookshelf, and I keep thinking I'm going to sit down and read it. I'm trying to do more of the deep work. Just sit down and just focus. And like I have a bad habit of just like playing like a YouTube video in the background and stuff like that. The 5 a.m. Club works well. Complete Productivity Trilogy Master. I haven't seen, that's Robin, is it Robin Sharma who does the 5 a.m. Club? I haven't read that one, but there's one called Miracle Morning by Hal somebody. I can't remember his name. And for a while, like I had read that one, and then like a whole bunch of other people I knew just started reading that one, and I was doing all that kind of stuff for a while. But yeah, I got up at 5 a.m. this morning. Feel really good. Let's see. Robert T says, a business question for you. With an app business that makes consistent amount of money a month per month, yeah, that's a good one. What are the best ways to spend this money and invest back into the business? Well, what I would say, should you focus on advertising, increase capacity for outsourcing work, or buying apps for your portfolio, or something else? So, Robert, I think I think like when you talk about like successful app company, you're talking about like you're doing development for other people, or you're talking about like you're doing your own applications, and and the app revenue is coming in. Because the app revenue is coming in, and you can pay for advertising to even like bring more people into it. That sounds like the way to do it. Like you have you have a system that works. So like I wouldn't recommend outsourcing or anything like that if that's the way you're doing it. Now if you're doing like client work like I am lately, then yeah, maybe that would be the best way to go. But the nice thing about, like, if you have something where people are downloading it and they're making money from it, or they're downloading it and you're making money from it, then you could start to that the system works. You can start working on advertisements to get even more people into it, so that you do that. And again, that kind of depends on how you're making money through it. If you're making money through it from advertising, then spending $1 to acquire a user and making like pennies from that user through the advertising doesn't quite make sense. But let's see. But yeah, so I think that makes sense. Let's see. MD says, did you hear that Tom Brady coming back to play football again? Wow, that guy never got old. See this? Okay. I've been in England for so long that I know when people talk about Tom Brady or Kobe Bryant or all these people, like, I should know who they are. And I kind of know who they are, but kind of like the way I used to know who Wayne Gretzky was. Like, he was so famous and so good at what he did that me, as a non-fan of the sport, knew about it. So, yes. So Theo Taylor says Mac Studio. Oh yeah. Did you guys see that thing last week? It was like, I don't know, the Apple announcements are getting weirder and weirder. It seemed like it kind of felt like the Apple announcements were more mainstream before, and now they're kind of like they're more techie. Like when they announced the iPod, they didn't say how many gigs of RAM or whatever it had in it. They said, or how much disk space it had. They said it could fit 1,000 songs in your pocket. Like, everything was trying to make it for the mainstream user. And it seems like now that Steve Jobs is gone, it's like they're more talking about the technical stuff. When you see the new iPhone with with this processor, they kept talking about which processors they were using. And it was like, for hardware people, it's probably good. Oh, this is the M115 or the new A15 processor in the iPad or whichever it was, right? But, and the wow, man, I have not spoken a lot today. So, the iPhone in green, ooh. But I think I get a bit cynical about those things. So with the Mac Studio, I don't know. I've got like an iMac from a couple years ago, and I loaded up with 72 gigabytes of RAM, and I'm good. I'm not processing anything. Even, I guess if you're doing like super video stuff, but even then it doesn't take that much. But Theo, are you excited about the Mac Studio? Is it, because I assume it's going to cost, I haven't looked at it, but I kind of assumed it'd be like super expensive. Kind of like, remember the iMac Pro when that came out? It was like black. It looked like, it looked like that. It kind of was like a black version of the iMac Pro, and it looked like again, I'm gonna nerd out on you guys here. It looked like the enemy spaceship in Star Trek not Star Trek Beyond, but the second one, the one with Benedict Cumberbatch. There's like this other starship that was just like all black, matte black. That's kind of what it looked like. Let's see. YA says, hey, Eric, Admob is in my ads for the second time in a period of just 1 year. What are your thoughts on this? I think you should get some mediation networks in there, just so you have something. So if it's going to be limited by Admob, at least you have this feeding into someplace else. They seem to Admob just seems to be going crazy with everything. I get emails every day saying your Admob is being, your Admob is no longer working with this application. And I've unpublished, like for apps I've even unpublished. Like I don't know how to tell them, like, quit telling me that it's not being served, because there's no requests actually coming through. Mark said, hey, Mark, honky tonk man, looking ripped. You obviously been hitting that punch bag behind you hard. Dude, so I know, Mark, I hurt my ribs like a month ago. Today was like I've been to the gym like twice, and both times maybe I should like ease off. And today I actually went to the gym and worked out hard, and that punching bag. So I go to the boxing gym. So that punching bag behind me, it's got dust all over it. It's gonna go on eBay. but it does look cool behind me. It looks kind of macho, doesn't it? Which is entirely, that's the whole reason I do any of this. I just want to look macho. And I know guys today don't say macho, but I'm bringing it back, baby. Let's see. Matthew says, I deactivated in-app purchase in Google Play Console. What happens? Oh, if I deactivate app purchase at Google Play Console, what happens? I don't know. I think up until the 3 days ago, I was averaging $5 daily in ads. Well, that's good. But so if you deactivate in-app purchases on Google Play Console, well, I have no idea. You have to test your code for that. It depends on whether or not you're handling that. Like if you're handling it gracefully, you got to think, if you make a call to any API and you shut down that API, you got to be, somehow being able to handle it within your code. You can't just expect it to come back and say, like, it's going to come back with some sort of message. And I honestly don't know, what that message would be, but you have to make sure that you're handling it. Theo says, I have the M1 iMac, and it's nice. See, I got the iMac right before the M1s came out. But with the M1, so I got the MacBook Air with the M1 chip, and it is nice. I'm able to do most things on it, except I still haven't got the Android emulator working on it, and I know that it should be working on it, but I just haven't been able to get it to work. So that Mac Studio has to be awesome. Oh, it starts at the at $2,000. Oh, really? So that's not that much different than mine. $3,000 from the M1 Ultra. Again, this is something, like I said, this is so non-Apple. Ultra, this is the name they're gonna give it. Ultra, the M1 Ultra, the beast, not the Monterey, not the some. They're just like, now they're just getting what are they becoming like? They're like monster truck rally people now. They're supposed to be hipster glasses, we're better than everybody else. Now they're like Ultra, the Super Magnum Mac 1. So anyway, I watched that. It was a weird presentation because it started off talking about Apple TV Plus and all the cool movies and stuff they're doing, which I have Apple Plus or Apple TV. And I got it just for Ted Lasso. I was like the only reason I thought, okay, I want to watch Ted Lasso, season 2 of Ted Lasso. And there's been a few good shows on there. I just finished watching Pam and Tommy on Disney Plus. Well, over here it's on Disney Plus. I don't know if you guys have seen it. That was really good. Let's see. Matthew says now back to $1 daily. So up until 3 days ago, I was averaging $5 daily in ads, and now I'm back to $1 daily. So is your RPM dropped, or has your number of impressions dropped? So it's got to be something. It's going to be, either the if you look at the requests, the fulfilled requests, and then also the RPMs. So if you're making requests and not getting ads back because they don't have any for you, then that's obviously an issue. If you're not making requests, then the issue that's something you actually do about. You could actually increase the number of ads that you're calling or whatever, or at least try to increase the downloads. If they're not able to fulfill your ads for whatever reason, then that's where mediation networks come in and stuff. But yeah, that sucks. Robert says, I wonder how much more a fast Mac speeds up your development. This is where I'm kind of, when I got this Super Mac, it's not iMac, I say Super, this iMac, it's just a normal iMac, but I got it, I just loaded up with RAM because when I do video editing, that's one of the things on my MacBook Pro that was just really, really, really slow. Where it sometimes would take like half an hour where you just can't touch it. Like it's just, churning away, trying to render a video. And since I got this new iMac, I stopped making videos as often. So it was like not even that thing. So, and I'm trying to use the MacBook Air more often. So I'm actually using something less powerful more often because I think if I could train myself to do that, then it'll make me more portable and I could just work wherever. But it's just so nice to work on this more powerful machine and just have everything open and, not, I remember in the old days when people said, oh, your problem is you got too many tabs open. You're like, screw off. Like I can remember, you have somebody like I can remember like working in an office environment and somebody come over and go, here's your problem. Too many tabs open. He just starts closing tabs. I'm like, stop it, stop, stop. What are you doing? Like you find that perfect article and you want, oh, leave that there, whatever. It's like, no, you can't have too many tabs open. So it's like, I don't know. So let's see. The M1 Super Duper. Yeah, like that's it. That's that Apple's new naming strategy. Now they just give up. Now they're just gonna tell you about processors and chips, and they're gonna say like, oh, whatever. Like, and that was one of the things where, we talk about MP3 players were on the market before the iPod came out, but the iPod made it like mainstream. Like they talked in, they didn't get all technical. I mean, the technical. I mean, we like when they talk about technical stuff, but that was kind of like they were able to reach the mainstream because they stopped talking that way. And now it's like, it just seemed like that was one of the things I got the impression of. Like they're going, the Ultra, are you man enough? Are you man enough for this Mac? It's like, dude, man, like, what's Apple flexing for now? They were supposed to be like, I don't know, the creative ones. But let's see. Joe says, I wonder what the situation in Russia, Ukraine is going to affect the ECPMs. I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah, it's something that obviously I've been watching in the news and everything, but I have not been thinking about it in terms of how it would affect the app markets. I don't know. Because I think a lot of developers out there are, are in Russia. I mean, and they're, like that's one of those things. Like thinking up until like, they were they were us. Like I know there's all the stuff with Russia and everything and China, but like they were like developers are like they think the same things we do. They're like we're just we work on our applications and stuff like that. Now we might not even be able to work with them again. So that's one of the weird things because I would occasionally get messages from people like in Russia. See, Theo says I'm going to test the waters of iOS game development. I want to learn this skill set before AR takes off. That's a good idea. But are you going to are you going to do the AR kit or are you going to do? I don't know. What is the I guess when it comes to AR, and I wish I mean I haven't really leapt into this completely. I think when I was looking at AR stuff, what was I looking at? I was looking at, is there like a cross-platform AR type framework? Because I think I was trying to look at some way to just have like a transparent background, like poor man's AR, but VR. So let's see. Nezzy says the M1 Latte and M1 Mocha. Is that true? Is that what they're called? Now you got me, because that sounds like that could be it. I'm gonna Google that just because this could be one of those things where, oh, maybe it is. No, oh, those would be better names. Let's see. I'm not really into VR, but the AR I'm all the way in. Yeah, AR seems to have real world applications. I think it's a lot of times people ask me about gaming, like is a game better than an app? And I'm like, I'm really not much. Like when it comes to an app, I can get excited about how this could be used. And when it comes to AR, I'm thinking, how would an AR app be used? I can remember once doing a proposal. It wasn't a proposal. It was mainly just a conversation with a prospect. And he was saying like he wanted to have like an AR application because I think they did sheds or something. And he wanted to have like an augmented reality so you see the shed in your like whatever yard. And I was like, yeah, let me see if we could do that. I asked the developers. They're like, yeah, we could do that. But I didn't believe them. This is one of those ones that are like, sometimes I ask the developers, the Indian companies I was working with, I'd ask them something and they'd always say yes. So I had to go by the tone they used. Like it was another one where it was like a watch, Apple Watch application, which needed to do a certain thing. And I said, oh yeah, no, we'd be able to do that. Like says the salesperson who's not a developer. I'm like, can we just ask the developers? And like, oh yeah, no, we asked him. He said yes. I was like, I don't believe you guys. I've gotten into traps with you guys before. Let's see. Matthew says, I also lowered my Google Ads budget from 20 cents to 15 cents per install. No visible changes. You mean, okay, your ads. So, okay, wait a second. Um, so we are talking about earning through ads just a second ago. Now you're talking about the ads to come in. Okay, so okay, well that's cool. Let's see. Soy Dallin says how to create a 7-figure business. Build something people want to buy, I guess. Let's see. Yeah, that's a very broad question. There's loads of people who would give you like loads of answers on that. In fact, I'm sure there's loads of people who take your money and tell you they give you all the answers to that. But that sounds like a very vague thing. Like to me, I think you need to think about what you want to do and pursue that rather than say what makes the most money and then go do that, because then you're just going to be a copycat doing something that everybody else does. But let's see. FA says, what would you suggest about marketing? You're talking about app marketing? I would think, again, I say this all the time because I think if you really want to spend money on advertisements, like using targeted ads like through Facebook, you need to like do a very small budget to begin with, just to see whether or not it works, and then see what your click-through rate is and your whatever your cost per install, because then at that point you can see whether or not it's actually sustainable. Like last thing you want to do, let's say I mean, let's say use like an example, like if you're putting out a movie, you don't want to have a poster that sucks, right? You can say like, I spent all this money on this advertising campaign. You're like, yeah, but the poster was bad or whatever, or it made it look, for some reason it didn't grab people's attention. So you need to test it like at really early on to see whether or not whether or not that actually works. So can you like, if you create an advertisement and then put like say $5 a day into it or something like that, or $10 or whatever you can afford, but like not crazy. You don't blow your whole ad budget to begin with, and then you see like what works and what doesn't. And you could even do stuff like you can do A/B testing and stuff, but or do like A/B testing, or just try like multiple ads and see which one gets clicked on more. But or you could just do like run an ad. It's not quite what you hope. Try something else, tweak something. Do something like what I found. So what I found worked well with my language learning games was before it was like it was like whatever, learn Vietnamese, whatever, how cool would it be to learn Vietnamese? And most people I think saw that and thought, right? And then I started thinking, okay, well, who's my target user? Like most people, like you can't put something out there to everybody and say like, people just say like, oh, learn Vietnamese, yes please. Like, but it was like, okay, who would it be? It'd be like parents and they want their kids to learn it, or people who are actually, or ideally people who are already studying it and they're looking for resources to help them with it. So those people, how would you get those on it? Basically you'd ask a question. Like one of the ad campaigns we did was like, what's the Vietnamese word for cinema? Answer in the comments. And then that way they were answering, and it was spreading a little bit more that way, because it was like, first of all, it was getting interaction from them. They're commenting on it, people and their friends were being able to see them commenting on it, and it had a bit more, it spread a lot more that way. It had a lot more impressions for a much smaller budget, because I was asking a question. But that was just playing around with ad formats and stuff like that, trying to see like what would work best. And for me, asking a question worked better than other stuff. But again, it's like it's always changing, so that's why you have to test these things out. But like I would do like and try to think about who's your actual user, because what would those users respond to? Actually, we call them users, but people, whatever, like your prospects. What would they respond to? What would they be looking for? If you have a game that's like, if you have a game that's similar to another game, then you might want to advertise to people who like that game, like through Facebook, whatever. Fans of this game, they're the good ones who go like the one you did this. And you see this a lot with Facebook ads anyway. Like if I go to a website or, even click on some ad, every single other ad is like that. I was like, oh, you like boxing stuff because I was excited about that. Or you like, whatever, you like language learning stuff, or you like whatever. So then they start saying, it just starts to fill all that stuff, through to me. So, inherit from a rich relative. Yeah, there you go. Whifflet, hey Whifflet, says, is it possible to publish ads successfully without investing into ads? Yeah, it is. I mean, yeah, we're talking to publish them. Yeah, The only reason you want to use ads is to get people into it. If you have, you know, you know, all advertisements do is get people to find it and look at it. So, like if you like, what you don't want to do is get in a situation where everybody, like, you have to pay for every single user that comes in. So like nobody knows the app exists unless they see an ad for it. Ideally, you'd have something where you'd have maybe a few, like, use ads for a few people just to get those initial eyeballs on it, or even like if you have a social media. I mean, if you had a social media following, or you started to do that kind of stuff, then you wouldn't need to worry about ads. You already have a platform for which to do that, and that's all advertising is. You're taking other people's existing platforms so that you could put your stuff in front of them. Like if you knew a celebrity, you would say, hey, can you talk about this on your show or whatever. That's what television is. Like television shows are basically their delivery vehicles for ads, and the ones that get the most ratings are the best ones, so they try to make the best shows so that and advertise, and sponsors and advertisers pay for those so that they can advertise their goods. And so if you had access to something, like if you already had your platform, you could do it that way, but most people don't. But yeah, it is possible, but it might not be as easy. It depends on how well you are in just getting it in front of people. Like if you you go, like, what an example would be, door-to-door sales. Obviously you would not do that for an app. Go door to door and say, will you download my app? But you could start, like, listening to people on Twitter, and if somebody was mentioning something that you think they would be a good target for that, then you could reach out to them. You might see some people who are influencers. They might be interested in it, and they might share that. Although it seems like a lot of influencers now would only do it for money these days. It's something I find that even through this very small channel that we have, I get emails at least once every couple of days, like somebody saying, they want to pay me for like a sponsored video or something like that. And for a while I was kind of like, yeah, I would put them all in a certain folder thinking, yeah, someday I'm going to do that. I'm going to, do sponsored, like, this video is brought to you by whatever, Jelly Cube or whatever, right? Or the Tool or all some of these other things. But then I'm thinking, you know what? I don't like those tools. Like, it would have to be something that I actually use. And, I kind of like, to me, I'm like, this channel's so small, and it's nice that you guys just show up. And I think, last thing I want to do is start saying, hey, buy my course on how to start a 7-figure business. So, see, if he says, do you think only English language support? Wait, sorry. Do you think only English language support is enough for a beginner level application in Play Store? Yeah, I mean, most applications, I think, well, most applications I know are only English language support. But you could do, which, I mean, you basically, like, if you are able to put it in, the more languages you could put it in, the better, right? But if you only have like one target language to do, you could just do it in that one target language. I mean, it's kind of like, who's your target market? Like, if you don't have very good English skills, for example, you could just release it to whatever language that and then hope that more people find it. So yeah, the language you use it's only relevant to how many people you could reach. As far as I know, I don't think there's anything more. Like, I don't think. Of course, I'm an English. I've always been an English speaker. Well, I used to be an American speaker, but so to me, it's English is my first language. So I'm not. I'm not sure if there's an advantage there or not. So, but it's a good question though. I mean, has anybody else had any questions with that? I mean, any issues with that kind of stuff? So, what else has been happening this week? For me, it's just been I've haven't been working out. I've not been working out because I hurt my ribs still, and so this morning getting out and doing it, and then my ribs hurt a bit, but then the pain went away, and I think I'm just gonna do it with it. But I did find my mood change, so I didn't do any videos last week because I was just kind of depressed and just going. Ugh. So like this morning getting out and actually hitting the gym and everything felt really good. Get up early and do that. And to last week was just, it was just bizarre. But I've been working on my secret project. I spent the last 2 hours trying to figure out why these images weren't rendering as an embedded resource when they should have been doing. And then I found that I hadn't marked them as an embedded resource in Xamarin Forms. So, and I've been working on a couple quotes today. So like my least favorite thing to do, although it's kind of one of those things you have to do a quote because that's how you get new projects in. But then you're like, you got to be really careful because you don't want to get in a situation where you give a bad quote and then you end up in a project that you're like, whoa, wait a second. I'm like, no, we didn't talk about that or whatever. So it's one of those things to do. Like one of the things that's really important to do if those guys are quoting for on projects is to make sure that you make sure the things that you plan to deliver and the things that you are not going to deliver, or the things that are like, okay, this will be for a future version because it was mentioned in a meeting, but it's not part of this quotation. Those are one of those things you have to get in there. And sometimes you just got to get in the right frame of mind. You got to do some Cal Newport's deep work in it and, that kind of stuff. So let's see. Wander Souza says, what are your thoughts on hyper casual games and Wordle type of apps? Is it a bubble or a trend that is worth it to invest? Thanks. I think that, the casual games have been around for a long time. And they seem to, I say they seem to do pretty well. From what I find is like these kind of games, they show up, one of them hits it really big and then everybody floods into it trying to do the same thing. And then not succeeding. And then, and then they move on to something else. I think to me, it used to be when I got into the app market, it's like, I was in this app mastermind. I was doing all these like Udemy courses. There was a guy, what's his name? I can't remember. It was this big ASO guy. And his whole thing was, all you have to do is look at the top 10 charts and do that. It was like, but then everybody was doing that. Everybody was looking at what was trending and doing that. And for me, it was like, I kind of started in that way, and then it became maybe we'll just, what am I interested in? What do I want to produce? So, Sincerely Playful. Hey, I like the name. Hey, Eric, have you ever felt like you're working hard but still incompetent? And if so, how do you deal with it? Working hard and still incompetent? Yes, all the time. That's what learning is like working hard but still being competent, right? If you're totally competent, then it's time to move on to the next thing, right? It's, yeah, who wants, like, there's always a level of incompetence when you're learning something new. Now, if you think you're incompetent, like genuinely incompetent, like, dude, man, I'm like, just nothing I do ever works, then maybe scale it back a little bit. You want to be slightly incompetent, but not completely incompetent, I guess I should say. Like, I'd be like, dude, man, I just, nothing ever works. I deleted everything accidentally. I crashed the whole system like 5 times. Right. So no, just, that the incompetence thing should always just be a temporary thing. Like as you get better at stuff. And, it's like that, the next rung on the ladder, right? You might be like, I can create an application, but when it comes to, connecting with an API via OAuth, that's something that's kind of, I don't understand. And then then you learn that part. Or a lot of developers, they get to the point where like they're developing and then they're putting off go live forever because they're just like, I gotta make this thing perfect, and they're having so much fun in the development process or whatever. And then they get to the point where they have to sign the application and they're like, this part is really hard. So there's all that kind of stuff. There's always that. Yeah, you deal with it by getting better. Hard work is how you get through it. Like that whole, we all know what this is like. For the last 2 hours, I've been trying to figure out why these images weren't rendering in the application. And it was getting frustrating. I was just getting, this should be easy. I don't know why this is not working. I'm checking everything, just like I've done this a million times before and it's not working. Right. And sometimes you just have those kind of days where things are just like not firing. Let's see. And I want to ask you a question. Why is your app's interface outdated? My app's interface? Which app are you talking about? Because I have lots of apps. So UX is good, but UI not enough. Yeah, you got to be more specific about which uh, which application you're talking about. If you're talking about Ear Spy on iOS, that I agree with you. It is very outdated. It's just like, I haven't updated that in quite a while. But it's one of those things. It's easy to criticize something than to actually do one yourself. So like, for a longest time, the big thing people were saying is like, dude, man, your logo sucks. I'll do a new logo for you. And it was like, I don't have a logo problem. Like, it's I'm worried about the things that are going to affect my revenue. Um, so Joe says Neil Patel. No, it was Gabriel Masharet. That was his name. I don't know if he's still doing app stuff, but like he was like the guy. It was like, and I don't know if it's one of those weird ones where Gabriel Masharet, founder ASO agency. Yeah. So yeah, App Store optimization trainer, ASO consultant. So yeah, there was a lot of people who were like kind of minor celebrities in the ASO like kind of space. And the thing is that like they would never show numbers. Like that was one of the things when I started doing videos, is like they just like show like this works, that doesn't work, this like totally failed, and like this is how much money I made. It's not much. I'm making a lot less money now. It's like one of those things. And I also found that because there was one guy, his name was Chris. I wouldn't tell you his last name, but he was like, yeah, he was like this kind. He was one kind of guy that I just, you know, yeah, let me have a look at your apps for you. We'll have a little consultation. And he goes, you should be using Ad Colony and you should use Ad Colony and Bungle because their ECPMs are like $10 and your ECMs are what? So I don't know, like $2. It's like, see, already I've made you like, and how many downloads you got? So already this call has made you $10,000 a month. I'm like, right, and it was like, and then when I implemented this stuff, it didn't work, right? It was just academic for him. Like it was just you see this a lot, especially like you know when we got when I do videos. It's like I don't want it to be academic. I want it to be this is what I've tried this or I haven't tried this, or let me know if you guys have tried this, but never to say, what you should use? You should use the Mac One Ultra or whatever, because that's a cool computer. But like, have you used it? Well, no, but it's a really cool computer. It's like sometimes you need that person who's tried it, and because some things are hyperbole and overrated. Some things are like genuinely useful. Some things are like certain things I've tried has been like using a nag screen, like have something come up to say, hey, download our other apps and use some cross promotion. How well would that work? I thought it would work a lot better than it didn't. Doing stuff like changing the review pop-up to be like an alert box, or like just a standard the standard, there was a library like just the please leave us a review thing, changing that to a cartoon character saying please. That actually did work. That was like, our reviews started to go up after that, and it was like kind of like a win, right? But it wasn't as pronounced as I thought it would be, but it was. Changing your screenshots from being just the static pictures of the images to annotated screenshots with text, that helps a lot. The biggest change was just localizing it into the top 10 languages. That tripled my downloads like almost overnight, and it wasn't even before I released the app, the APK with the strings in the app, but actually just changing the Google Play pages just to put those languages in there. That really made a huge difference by looking at all that kind of stuff. So sometimes things work really, really well, and sometimes things don't work as well, or maybe they've worked for other people, or maybe they're lying. I don't know. So I'm really skeptical when it comes to people who are. I did a video like years ago called App Vultures. It was kind of this thing where there was this saying that keeps going around, which is like, don't in the gold mine, you don't sell you sell the shovels or whatever. To the gold miners, you sell the shovels. Like, and so yeah, and a friend of mine at work, not an app developer, just like another app developer, but not an app developer, just like another guy in the office. He was like saying like, you know what you should do? You need to you need to sell the dream. I'm like, and that's one of the reasons why I never did a course or anything like that. I don't like. I have people come on, people in the comments say like, "It's a scam." I'm like, dude, I'm not selling you anything. like I have nothing. Like, you could buy those T-shirts. That's the only thing, right? The T-shirts, which like 3 of them have been bought. So to me, I'm like, it's one of those things. Like, let's keep it honest here on Overpass apps. iReality X Go says, "Hi, Rick. Hi, Reality." Nobody's ever called me Rick, but it's a way cooler name than Eric. Rick sounds strong, doesn't it? Rick. Eric sounds hesitant. Rick. Let's see. Baz the Dev. Hey, how's it going? Hey, long time no see. Hope you're well. I'm doing really well, Baz. I hope you are too. Let's see. I have a question regarding localization. Should this be embedded in my game where I should change the UIs according to the phone language, or should I have separate APKs for each target country in Play Cool example? Good question, because I went the second route. Then when I first did it, I released one APK for every single language. I thought that was a good idea. It was a horrible idea. After a while, they started just rejecting them. Well, Apple especially started rejecting them. But then it was like really hard to maintain them all. So like you got to think about when it comes to the reviews are targeted toward the one country, but at the time, I don't know if they changed this. They might have changed this. But you're getting momentum in one country, but that does help to like prove that the application is worth it in other countries. So to me, it was helping me to get like lows. Like for a while, my app was big in the States, but then it like really took off in Thailand. Like it was like number 3 in Thailand for like this one category. It was in the medical category because that was when I decided to put it into. And it was like all of a sudden I had this influx of stuff, and that was helping the whole thing. So you got to think about, getting that user base going into that one application makes a lot more sense. If you do like loads of other ones, then every time you make new screenshots, you have to do all kinds of stuff. So, Google Play is meant for being able to do a multilingual game, right? And you have one URL, one landing page, just the language will change based on, whoever comes to look at it. Let's see. Baz says, how many apps have you got now? Still making decent passive income, or is it more dev work? To be honest with you, Baz, it's more dev work lately. So the passive income is still like, I guess it's about $20 a day. So it's like, it depends on what you consider decent. To me, it's like really low compared to what it used to be. It used to be like a couple hundred a day, and now it's just like, So, but I've also been like, I haven't really released a whole lot lately. So I've been, just doing a lot of dev work. So, and I'm just being completely honest with you. Like, I wish I could tell you, dude, man, I'm just raking it in, but it's like, and it's my own damn fault. So, let's see. Devesh Abati says, how to remove ad limit on Google Admob account. It's really difficult. You have to either, you could try to appeal it to them. And I'm not even sure if you can appeal the ad limit, but it's one of those things that most developers face at some point. What I would do is create a new APK, release it, and then say that you fix whatever issue it is. If they've told you what the issue is, if they're just limiting it, then you just have to wait for them to unlimit it. What I would do is put some mediation in there, so at least you have, if you're not getting those ads filled by Admob, at least you have them filled by some other network. What it could be App Lovin' or Facebook Audience Network or whichever. SJ says, apologies have been covered in past streams. Do you have any fave app developers or agencies? Either they make cool stuff or they just like the people involved. I'm looking for new devs to follow. In terms of like people actually follow. No, like so like. Trying to think. Way Wenderlich is really cool. Like I'm talking about like actual developers that you like follow, not necessarily that you would hire. Like because they're probably way too busy. But like, James Montemagno. He's more of a Xamarin guy. Let's see. I can't, it depends on what I'm doing. Like some people keep coming back to, like, when you're like, at first you're just watching a few tutorials, thinking, okay, whatever. And then you're like, dude, I like this guy. This guy, he's got a good sense of humor. He's got a good way of presenting things. So, some of those people I do. So, aside from them, I can't think of anybody. Does anybody else have any good suggestions? Joni says, "Hi Eric, have you ever experimented with localized app logo? Did it work, or do you think it might work?" I've never done it. I think you could do it now, but I've not. I've not. I've not looked at that. It makes sense. I try not to put any text in my logos. It's it's kind of weird. It's like, because sometimes we have a client that wants to put the text in the actual, sorry, in the icon, but and I think now you could do it. You didn't used to be able to do it, I don't think, but somebody showed me recently, like, yeah, now you can on Google Play. So in terms of the localized, the app logo within the app, yes, I have. So like, you got the homepage, you got the logo of the app. Yeah, that was just having different either having different resource files depending on the language, or just depending on like the whatever, if you're doing it native, or if you're doing something that's just like like if you're doing your own stuff, you might just have a nasty if statement in there. If localized language is this, then show this image, otherwise show this. But like the smart way to do it is to use different resource files, like, and it's just the way, let's just have an extension on it. I think like on Android, I think it's like a different drawable folder. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Yeah. Let's see. Now Reality HK says, "Wow, really appreciate your answer. Many thanks." Oh no, that's that's the same thing I tried. The localization, I did that same thing. I mean, if I show you my play console, let me show you my play console. Because I did that same thing, listing it in every single language, and the developers I was working with were like, what? Let's see if I show you all my unpublished apps. I think, okay, here we go. Yeah, let me show you my console here. So yeah, here we go. You see, like, I did like all these different applications in different languages, like Chinese to learn Spanish, that kind of stuff. And it was just, after a while, it just got unmanageable. Like all these ones, like Korean bubble bath in Spanish, like it was really just an exercise of transforming, like, the different, I have this input, that output, and then just basically taking them and connecting to another one, which I thought was being really clever, but then it got unmanageable, and it was better to do that in the code of the single APK. But it's a good question. Alan Acker says, oops, my wrong screen over here. Hi, Eric. How do you keep yourself motivated to keep on learning new skills the whole time? What do you do to get out of a rut for learning, if you ever get into one? Dude, I get into ruts all the time. I really do. Like, there's times you go, oh, just whatever. Sometimes just getting excited about something. Like, I had some, like 2 years ago, I think. Maybe it was the beginning of 2021. I did a video saying, okay, I want to talk more about Flutter, more about Xamarin, and I want to look at other stuff. And this guy left some guy left a comment saying, dude, you're nearly 50. Focus on one and just stick with it. And it bothered me a lot. First of all, because he mentioned the fact that I was nearly 50. And I was like, that's a whole 2 years away. And the fact that he made me feel like, well, maybe I am just chasing shiny things, right? But sometimes you need that, right? If we just were able to stick to that one thing and then, like, not try anything new, yeah, of course we're going to get bored with it. Like, we're just like, God, I am just so sick of talking about this one thing. I'm so sick of working with this one thing. And sometimes it's just nice to do something different. I can remember when I used to run all the time. Like, I remember, like, when I would get into a run, I just, like, I don't feel like running anymore. buying a new pair of shoes was just like this mental trick. Would just be like, okay, now I feel like going out for a run because I got to try out these new shoes, right? And sometimes it's like you want to do something because I want to try out this new language. I want like, ooh, I wonder if I can learn this. Like there's been projects where I'm like, oh, I don't want to work in that. Oh, but maybe I could use Flutter on this one. It's like, like it's almost turned me around. It's like, okay, like the client doesn't care. Like, it's like, this might be a good candidate to learn Flutter. Or this might be a good thing to do this. And it's like, it's still the same, the output is still the same, but it's like, it's that changing something. And there's, yeah, it bothered me when that guy said that, and I was going to make a video about that comment because it bothered me. It was like, dude, you're nearly 50. Just, focus on the one thing and quit chasing all this other stuff. And it's like, actually, no, like, like we're in technology, and technology is always changing. And, if it's not like I don't do it because it's like, I have to do it, otherwise I become irrelevant. Is because, it's fun. It's fun to like learn the new stuff, right? It's like, and that goes back to that comment about being incompetent. It's like, you go into something new and you're like, dude, this was so hard, that other language. And then, and you're like struggling with it, thinking it's kind of embarrassing. It's taking me this long to figure this one thing out. And I can do it in that last language, like really, really easily. So, but yeah, I think to me, like staying motivated is like switching something up and thinking, how can you do it? Like, and, and sometimes I try, there are times where I'm more focused in code than I am on videos. And sometimes I'm like doing a lot of videos where, like if you ever see a week where I do a lot of videos in that week, dude, I'm procrastinating on something. There's some project I need to get to. And I'm like, I think I'll make another video. It's about time I do a video. So, let's see. Rajat says, Eric, what precautions should we take register multiple developer console accounts? This is one I've never done multiple ones. Like it just, to me, and then I was so afraid of losing my Google Play console, or my Google Play account, and I did for a while. Like it did get suspended, and I was able to appeal it and get it back, and then I became like shell shocked. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to change anything now, because you think about it, like I've got there's one client project that I'm working on where I did they set up the Google Play account, and I had like 20 days or 30 days to to upload a build, and I missed it literally by hours because I was like, oh, I gotta do that today, right? And I missed it by hours. Google would not, like, I appealed it, say, look, this, it's under the client's email address, all this stuff. Nope, they wouldn't do it. They told us we had to create another developer account using a different name and a different email address. So we got this awkward thing where we have to switch accounts to go to this one account, and it's just a pain. And that's why I don't want to get in that situation with multiple accounts where I have to switch multiple Gmail accounts, and then which emails getting notifications and stuff like that. So so I don't have a lot of experience with that. So unfortunately. But other people, I know other people have told me that they've set up multiple accounts, and I'm just, because I can remember one person saying they set up multiple bank accounts and then multiple Google Play accounts and multiple this. I'm thinking that sounds really complicated. Like, I assume you could like have them all have one bank account. Like, it seemed like he was trying to be all like cloak and dagger with it. I was like, I don't think that's that big a deal to set up more than one, but I don't know. So I don't know. So it looks like that's the last question that I see on here. So everybody, hey, thanks everyone for joining the live stream today. We're gonna do this again next week, and I think it's daylight savings time. We changed daylight savings in like 2 weeks, I think. So the time will get back to normal then. Anyway, thanks everybody for joining. I'm trying to get some videos out this week. I say that every week, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll talk to you guys again next week. See you later.
Winter